Where do you see AI revolution? Like how big is it?
It's huge, it's massive, it's the biggest thing that computing has brought to us with AI. 5 years from now, there will probably be very few job functions that and very few daily interactions that we have as individuals that do not touch upon AI. So it's really true when people say it's going to disrupt everything, it will. Because if your company is not on the edge of AI, you're going to be disrupted by somebody who is. We shouldn't stop at an understanding of AI that only extends to ChatGPT. We have to think more deeply than that.
Like we have seen computer revolution, internet revolution. Where do you see AI revolution? Like how big is it?
It's huge, it's massive, it's the biggest thing that computing has brought to us, and I think will bring to us. So it's really true when people say it's going to disrupt everything, it will. And this will impact us as individuals, as professionals, because we need to be, quote unquote, the smartest person in the room when it comes to AI. It also disrupts companies because if your company is not on the edge of AI, you're going to be disrupted by somebody who is. So again, the goal today was to give everybody a flavoring for um, all the different technologies and potentials that are here. And we shouldn't stop at an understanding of AI that only extends to ChatGPT. We have to think more deeply than that. So yeah, so basically be super curious from the things that we talked about today. If it fuels further curiosity as to how these new technologies that are developing will impact you, I encourage you to look into it. There are really great resources that one can avail oneself of. NVIDIA publishes a great blog on technology where they always translate their technology developments into industrial impact. And Google does the same. If you want to keep your fingers in the pulse of what's going on and not have to go and read papers out of universities, Google and NVIDIA do a tremendous service by making this accessible to us.
So exactly, that was my next question. Like, what are some applications you see of AI in general life? Like, basically, we are all aware about ChatGPT or maybe Sora in the video technology, autopilot by Tesla. So, what are some of the applications where you see it would be used in the general? It is, or it is actually being used in the general life of any human being.
Yeah, sure. So really good question. So I think it's going to manifest in two principal areas. One is in the area of like creating knowledge. So all the things we talked about today, like doing drug design, weather prediction, et cetera, that's creating knowledge. And there are different ways of addressing those opportunities. You can use a transformer, you can use diffusion, GAN, variational autoencoders, et cetera, many different ways of solving that. So that's one area. So as you think about how might I embrace this, how might my company embrace it, think about what your company does. Simple example here, if your company is in the financial services space, there's been work done with transformers to predict stock movement. Oh yeah, we buy and sell stock. We're in the brokerage space. Great. Maybe you use transformers to predict stock movement so that you can anticipate and buy and sell at the right time. So that's one area in the area of knowledge creation. The other area is in robotics. And here, the kind of technology that is driving it is known as reinforcement learning. And reinforcement learning, different approaches to doing so, and different approaches are appropriate for different sorts of applications within reinforcement, within robotics. So I would encourage people to, if you're in this space, we're in logistics, we're in agriculture, and we want to do factory floor robotics, warehouse robotics, or agriculture robotics, et cetera, start to look at what reinforcement learning is doing so that you can be the most knowledgeable there and think about what will apply best in your business case.
In India, as you said, some society problems of AI, like job being replaced by AI. In countries like India, where we are still facing unemployment, and any other developing countries. So where do you see, like, where do countries like India, where employment is still a problem, should head? And in the age of AI, or where should we go? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question, Shriram. I love that. And for everything in AI, the economics of it, the underlying economic drivers are the things that prevail the most. Okay, so I think that's really what you're speaking to here. I have a way of looking at AI. So we're familiar with the movie characters, the Terminator and also Iron Man. And the way I look at it is that we have to strive for Iron Man solutions. Think about Terminator versus Iron Man. Terminator, fully automated robot, sent from the future to come back here to kill us, basically, right? That was the thought of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. In Iron Man, what you have is technology that's augmenting human beings. So the human labor is never taken out of the equation. And what the Iron Man, the technology is doing is it's augmenting humans. So when I look at AI, because I know that employment is important, employment is a human right. We need this to be able to pay for our families and our own upkeep, right? Employment is a human right, and we shouldn't sacrifice employment solely to optimize for economic returns by automating everything. Because in that situation, everybody's out of work and a few people make all the money. And that's not right in my mind. So when we think about AI and automation, particularly in the India sense, let's always think about an Iron Man solution so that the worker is always involved. But we can supercharge what that worker is able to do. And we don't eliminate what that worker is able to do, a la Terminator.
Oh, great, great. Thank you. That's a great perspective. Uh, and how do we supercharge the Indian entrepreneurs? We have Indian IT, India's IT is the biggest, like India's biggest exports is into IT services. How this IT will be disrupted, or how Indian entrepreneurs should adapt to age of AI?
Yeah, I think Sriram, this is probably what you and I were talking about before the meeting here commenced. Um, India has so much talent, so much brain power, right? We know that we brush up against people like that every day. So the important thing is to take that talent and brain power and arm it with the best knowledge. And I think again that was the catalyst for today's meeting, today's presentation, is to give people enough of a spark as to, oh, that makes sense. I understand. Let me look into that and I can figure it out. So for Indian entrepreneurs, think about what's going to happen. And what's going to happen, for example, is that everything that has a data distribution, that's going to get captured. That's what's going to drive AI. So think about all those different areas where we can apply AI thanks to the data distribution. And how can we start to harness that already? The work, thanks to the internet, this work gets published, whether it comes out from industry or academia, gets published daily. I read this stuff like a maniac, and even so, I'm not able to keep up. The deluge is so great. But that's the great thing, is that there is a deluge. So no matter what it is, what problem you're trying to solve, what your skill set is, what your job function is, you can find the things that are resonant. Someone else has already figured the problem out. And arm yourself with that knowledge and apply that within your own business.
And my last question would be, where do you see the world after 5 years? That was the topic. So where do you see, what would be the changes in our daily livelihoods, about our work life, everywhere? What are the major changes you see with the AI?
Yeah, that's a great final question. I think that what we're going to find is a continuing integration of our daily lives as private citizens and also as a professional lives with AI. 5 years from now, there will probably be very few job functions and very few daily interactions that we have as individuals that do not touch upon AI. So this is what's going to happen. We have to think about how do we do this judiciously, because of course there are a lot of second order effects, employment that we need to care about, climate change that we need to care about, water supply that we need to care about, all of which are impacted by AI. And so we have to do this judiciously and not willy-nilly. Otherwise, we may end up causing unintentionally more harm than we provide good.